Derivatives trading involves substantial risk of loss and is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results.
So stressful when the world's on fire. Good God. I can't look at this, guys. Like, my strategy is you buy it and you hope that you got a good spot. Yeah, but we all think you're crazy. You don't fight this. No way. The markets are freaking out and you don't think that anything is wrong? Come back tomorrow and I'll lose it all. Should be fun.
All right, guys. Well, welcome to a new world. Did you make it through the night? I was trying. Wait. Let's turn on the music. Let's turn on the. Why does it want to play a racket? I love that song, but that's not what. All right, guys. I wanted to stay awake. I was like, it really looks like he's going to win. Would like to see the acceptance speech, all that, but I just couldn't do it, man. It was like 10:30 came along. It was just I went right to sleep. Woke up, checked things just to make sure that he was still winning, because that's what happened last time. Is like I woke up and then was like, oh, he's not winning anymore. No, it's a done deal. It's a done deal. Shall we see the market reactions? Well, now we gotta start with the Treasuries. Not on a daily chart. Whew. Okay, you know what? That's a pretty big drop on election night. It's a pretty big drop. Now we can come and look at the daily chart. We are getting back to some crazy levels, man. We're getting back to. Oh, Uzi, we got some stuff to talk about. Hold, don't get ahead of us. Don't get ahead of us here, okay? That's a little low in ZN. We think about that one, okay? Just you put that one in the back of your mind. We'll come back to that. S&P 500. Well, I was seeing that the S&P 500 was jumping on it, but it looks like it didn't jump that much. It worked. It didn't move that much, the S&P 500. Oil. Okay, oil's coming down. Ooh, oil's get hit hard overnight. Gold and silver got hit hard overnight. Oh my. Look at that one. Whew. They're giving up like a whole week or two's worth of gains there, huh? What about silver? Yeah, silver blown out. Yeah, that's ugly. Copper? Ooh, okay. This is interesting. This is interesting because, copper is a really good indication of what demand from China is looking like. And China has kind of been dealing with economic difficulty. Some of this, I think it was back here, but, it was like there's going to be Chinese stimulus, but then we're like, it's not good enough. And now copper is falling. So does that mean that the market thinks that this is really bad for China? Would be. Tariffs coming, maybe? Okay, and the Japanese yen also just gets destroyed. But that's probably off of dollar strength. And dollar strength is what I would expect to see, right? Like if Donald Trump's going to come in and, let's say, help to reverse some of the trade deficit, then you should see more demand for dollars to buy things in dollars. So that might not be so much weakness in the yen itself as it is dollar strength. I'm not sure if that decline there is anything to worry about, although we're still super concerned about the Japanese yen gets too low, right? Bitcoin loves it. Oh man. Yesterday we were like, it's just not, they gave up all of these gains and then boop, right back up there. Because the Trump administration is seen as friendly to crypto. I hate crypto, man. I don't like it. I really hope that they get to the bottom of the Tether thing and that these people get brought to justice and Bitcoin just completely collapses. But Donald Trump is saying that, like, at the very least, the government shouldn't sell their Bitcoin. I agree with him. We'll see how that goes. All right. So here's the thing, guys. Oh wait, was I showing the charts there correctly? Bitcoin, or did I already switch here? Here's the thing, man. I've been saying for as long as I can remember now. Like, I don't know when was the point at which I started to be like, I really think Donald Trump is going to win the next election. I really think that Donald Trump is going to be reelected again. It's as far back as I can remember now at this point. And now it's actually happened. But here's the thing. I did not expect Republicans to possibly be looking at a 55 vote majority in the Senate. Oh my. Guys, this is the biggest political change in maybe a century. This is crazy. Like, with a 55 vote margin of victory in the Senate, we can like do all of the crazy things that we've always wanted to do, but like, you know, Donald Trump doesn't talk about because he doesn't want to upset certain people and stuff. Like now we can actually talk about the real stuff. What's all of the crazy things that we want to do? Like deport all the no, I'm just kidding. I don't think anything crazy like that's going to happen. But like maybe end all federal subsidies for college tuition. What do you think about that? Let me try that again. End all federal subsidies for college loans. What do you think about that one? That's not something that we've talked about, that I don't think Donald Trump has talked about, but like, could that maybe happen? What do you think? What are some things that you think we could maybe see that hasn't been talked about now, that is like a possibility with as big of a victory as the Republicans had? Because really, it's crazy. Like, if 55 vote margin in the Senate, not even Mitt Romney could cuck that one up. Except for that, we don't have to worry about that because Mitt Romney retired. He's not in the Senate anymore. But come on, guys, this is huge. This is insanely huge. You're right. So now for us, here's the big thing: is like, what are we going to talk about now? Because you get what I'm saying, Uzi? Like, I feel like almost every stream we have talked about and argued about, you know, whether Donald Trump will win or not. And now he's won. What are we going to talk about? But actually, you know, before we get into all that, I have a more pressing question for you, Uzi. More pressing question for you, Uzi. Are you there? I want to make sure that you're there listening. I'm gonna ask you this question because I want, like, you know, a relatively quick answer. He's here. Oh man, my voice is kind of going. The kids are sick. I think they gave it to me. Okay. Will you add to your TLT position? Go. Because that, I mean, come on, man. That is a pretty alarming drop in the 10-year Treasury. And there's a Federal Reserve meeting tomorrow. They're probably going to cut interest rates. Almost certain they're going to cut by 25 basis points again. And like, look at the way that the Treasuries have been selling off since the last meeting. Absolutely bonkers. You know what? The funny thing about this, so I think that the trade, like the Trump trade being sell Treasuries, makes sense to me because, first of all, the big thing that I think everybody kind of forgot about is that there are tax cuts that are set to expire in 2025. So the Republicans will almost certainly renew those tax cuts, which the market will like. And they're probably going to try and put in some of his other proposals in there. They're going to have to be watered down like super big time, like the no taxes on tips sort of a thing. Maybe it could happen. There's going to have to be like huge restrictions on it. It's not going to be across the board, but maybe it could happen. The market's going to like that. He is going to renew the trade war with China. That's inflationary as well. So like, could make it harder for the Federal Reserve to cut interest rates. But when I look at those things, it's not the end of the world. And the Federal Reserve is probably going to continue cutting until interest rates are quote unquote normalized, because like the housing market is just so screwed up right now. The the employment market with that last non-farms. Like, come on, they're gonna have to change something, right? So to see the treasuries where they're at, yeah, I'm kind of thinking of joining you today. It's finally to a spot where I'm like, I think I can confidently buy those. Might be a little bit of heat. Who knows? I mean, look at this. The treasuries here this morning are pretty quiet so far. They're pretty quiet so far. So we'll see. But I'm thinking about joining you today. Always be buy-in, huh? All right. Well. I'm concerned that this kind of like generational trade where treasuries yields are really low is probably ended. And we will see more normal interest rates, historically speaking. But I do think that the current interest rate's too high. So I take a dollar cost averaging approach. Yeah, but I don't know if it was. I don't know. It would change your perspective on what the treasury. Because I mean, man, they've been. By the way, what was that little sweep there? Is there some news story I just missed? As long as it's generating income. Okay. Lebanon's Hezbollah chief, when Israel stops its aggression, there will be a road to indirect negotiations through the Lebanese state. That's all I got. I don't know. So, I don't know. Do we have anything else? Actually, I think they did that. I do. Where's my notes? Where's my notes? Not that. Not that. Wait, no. Oh, I guess it's this one. Ah. Do I have something like Trump? Here it is right here. That's right. Tournament client camps. I forgot about that thing. Hey Paul, did you see my comment? I saw that you love being wrong. Alfredo said something. Russell, the big winner. I don't know what that. You mean like small caps? Is that? Let's see here. Where is my market analyzer? Oh yeah, RTY up 6%. Wowzer. You know what? You're probably not on. Yeah, if I go change it from top chat to live chat, let's see. Maybe all these illegals will leave now. My town is flooded. I'm not joking. All I know is that Governor Pritzker is going to protect us from Trump's decisions. Oh, yeah. Okay. So let's talk about this. If you don't see, because we can turn this into a video. So if there's a point on here that you guys would like to, point out, let me know in here. Okay. But let's talk about, now that we have a Trump win. And by the way, I was having this whole thing about what are some things that Harris is going to do. By the way, we should add on this one. Okay. I want to have things that could happen but haven't been talked about. Okay. And I'm going to put on here end all subsidies for college loans. Marijuana legalization. End Obamacare. Facebook does the same thing with comments, sorts them without your permission and filters them out. It's annoying. Yeah, well, and in this particular instance, because APOL is here every day, he leaves good comments. So, like, I think that YouTube will filter some comments out from live chat from people that are like, you know, it thinks are maybe like, might be spam, but that it would think APOL is spam is absolutely ridiculous. So it is totally a case of the algorithm just being stupid. And you know, it's funny because it's really there for like streams that there's like just tons and tons of people talking, right? Yeah, it's real. Well, and you know, I kind of wonder. One of the things that we've been seeing is that Silicon Valley has shifted in politically. Like, you're seeing Mark Zuckerberg was doing things, and everybody was saying like, oh, well, it's because he thinks Donald Trump is going to win now, and so he's trying to ingratiate himself because he knows that he screwed up. But I don't think that it's purely political. I think that like Mark Zuckerberg does regret some of the things that Facebook did. And some of the things that he did, I don't think he realized the political impact that they would have. He was a little bit naive about it. So I hope, at least, I'm not going to say I do see, but I hope that maybe some of the suppression of conservative voices online will, you know, come back. I tell you what, last night, it was, so first I watched the hockey game. We went up against the best NHL team, and we didn't get completely blown out, but we did lose. And so then after that, it's like, okay, let's go and, you know, where should I watch? And I don't have cable, so I don't have Fox or anything. I think Fox is probably still the place to go on election night. I really don't like them. But, you know, they're going to have like Karl Rove and all of the big names and stuff in the discussion. It probably is the best place to watch. But so I went about trying to find free places. And that, you know, I wasn't finding very much on YouTube, by the way. There was not very good election coverage on YouTube that I could find. So I went to Rumble. And there was huge live streams on Rumble. The Dan Bongino live stream had 500,000 viewers. It was like insane. They had 500,000 viewers on the Dan Bongino show. And who was next after that? I don't remember. But anyways, I was not enjoying watching those streams though. It was like they just couldn't help but talking about conspiracy theory things and stuff that like just wasn't really proven or true and yada yada yada. So I eventually found myself on Charlie Kirk's stream and watched that one. And they did a bang up job, by the way. Oh, he did such a good job. Because what he did was he had an operative. I mean, they've been involved in get out the vote efforts anyways, right? And he had an operative on the stream for every major swing state. So you had a guy on there, you know, knew all of the different counties and where it was likely to come in and which ones that mattered and doing all of the numbers and stuff. And every time that they started to kind of veer into that, he was like, listen, I don't want to get sued for misinformation, yada yada. Like he kept them on track. And I thought it was an excellent stream. Excellent stream. It made me think, you know what? I should stream on Rumble a little bit more. Because, like, here's the thing. Republicans. We got to talk Republicans. You're not used to winning. You're not. No. So many of the Republicans were convinced, even though every piece of information that we had suggested that Donald Trump was going to win. Nobody believed it. Nobody believed it. Right. The cope is real right now. Yeah. We don't know what it's like to be in this situation. It's like the dog chases the car and catches the car, you know? Like, what do you do with it now? Now, let me warn you, okay? The real battle begins. Because you know, they're not going to give up in Congress. There's still going to be some Republicans that try and cock everything up. And, you know, honestly, there is a major portion of Donald Trump's agenda that is really kind of like just saying things to get voters to like him and are extremely unlikely to ever make it into legislation. And so how do you kind of balance all of those things out and get legislation that's actually reasonable and good in there and everything, right? So the real work begins now. There's, again, this is probably, I got to tell you guys, this is probably the largest political change in the United States of the century. No joke. I don't think that Republicans have had this big of an advantage in the Senate in like 100 years. And the thing is, and these are sort of some of the things that I'm saying, there are a lot of problems. Oh yes, okay, here's the other thing that needs to come in here on the things that could happen but haven't been talked about. Election reform. There are problems out there that are completely manufactured. Okay, this whole thing where it's like it takes forever to count votes in Pennsylvania, completely manufactured. Florida has no problem counting all of the votes quickly. They have a great system over there. This problem where it's like big lines, you know, all of the machines are broken, all of these sorts of things in Pennsylvania. I'm telling you guys, totally intentional. Totally intentional. And you know what? The reason I know these things is because I've seen Republicans do it in Utah. I'm a Republican. I've seen it from the inside. They intentionally will understaff and put resources in the areas that they know are Democrats so that people are less likely to vote because they don't want to go through the hassle. It's totally a thing. I don't think that anybody agrees with that stuff. Election reform could happen. Yeah, it's going to be wild. Prepare yourselves because this train has no brakes. Okay, but you guys are interested in number this one right here, mass deportation. Okay, well, so first of all, I don't think that quote unquote mass deportation will happen like right away, and it's not going to be like the Gestapo is going to be going door to door, anything like that. But here's what I think you might see. I think that between now and January, there's going to be a mad dash for everybody that wanted to try and get into the United States under the Biden administration is going to rush to try and get in before Donald Trump gets put in charge. That is totally going to be a thing. Even if Donald Trump's coming in and his plan is, you know, like, don't come because you're just going to get deported again, people are probably still going to chance it. My guess. Then he is going to reinstitute the stay in Mexico policy, probably, or at least try to, some equivalent. And yes, I think that you will see illegal border crossings drop precipitously. Then I do think that you will start to see more enforcement because right now, immigration's hands are kind of like tied behind their back and like the administration is kind of preventing them from doing their jobs. So you will start to see immigration do their jobs, which will primarily mean people that have like broken the law, because there's a lot of, you know, they get arrested for something and then, you know, they should get deported, but they just get released. That's going to end, and that's where you're going to see it on the first side, and then maybe a couple months in, or maybe a year or two in, they start to move into like, we're going to do mass deportation. Now on this one is kind of like a little bit of it will happen, but maybe also a little bit incorrect, because I think that what you will see is that once you really start doing mass deportation all of the sob stories will start coming out. It will. It's going to be very, very difficult for the administration to stay the course on that. So I don't know how, how blunt they're going to be about it. But I do think that the Trump administration will make... I'm not going to say they're going to resolve the immigration issue for good, but I think that they're going to make a huge stride in the Republicans' direction on immigration, for sure. Okay. So I have on here, I've kind of like, as people, I've been browsing Reddit and like the things that people are saying and, wrote those down because there was really a lot of histrionics and hyperbole and stuff on Reddit leading up into this. The Harris online commenter astroturfing operation really went all in on try to scare people into voting for Harris. They really did. And it did not work. It did not work. Like in retrospect, it kind of seems that like betting everything on abortion was a big mistake for Team Harris because in most of these states, they had abortion initiatives on the ballot last time around, and this time they don't, and so it really wasn't a motivating factor for a lot of those places. Do you think Harris will close the gap on the popular vote? Well, what is it at right now? I think that the New York Times projections are likely to hold and be correct. So let's see what it's at right now. If they will let us see it. Trump wins. Electoral college estimate. Results by state. No, where's the popular vote? Yeah, I don't have it, so I don't know. I don't know. The New York Times was saying something like Trump will win by 1%. So that's another factor play. Okay, sorry, I keep delaying. I did see your comment here, 007. What time should I set the data pipe if I want cache data all day? So the settings in the data pipe, if I go in here to indicators on this chart, because I have it set up on this chart right here, data pipe. So the data pipe produces so much data that trying to record like all day, in my opinion, doesn't really make sense. Okay. So this start hour, start minute is basically your time when you want it to start collecting data. Okay. So I have mine start collecting data at 6:30 and then it ends at 9:30. Okay, so it just collects those 3 hours. So if you really want it to collect like everything, then I think you set it to like 1600 or whatever it is whenever the extended session starts, right? But I would not recommend saving that much data. Again, I have some data files that are 500 megabytes just for those 3 hours. Okay, so I would only collect the data for the time period that you're interested in actively trading, which may just be the regular session, probably. But anyways, I wouldn't recommend doing the extended session. Illinois would be red if it wasn't for the corruption. Yeah, 1600 to 1600. That would be interesting. I think that you would need them to be slightly different, but yeah, you would want it to be when there's like that 1 hour that they're down, right? So you would want it to be around that. And you can just, the way that you can figure that out is like just come over to a chart, come over to a chart and you'll see the little session break here, right? So 1600 is when mine starts and 1400 is when it or 1500 is when it ends. So. Okay. I do think. So should we talk about the incorrect ones first? They were saying. So I was just talking about that, right? It seems to me that it was a big mistake for Team Harris to go all in on the abortion rights thing, because it is a state issue now, and most states are happy with what they've set up in the rules. So yeah, this idea that that the Republicans will do a national abortion ban, absolutely ridiculous. Even with a 55 vote majority, I don't think that they would be able to pass that. And if they do pass it, I really think that Donald Trump would turn it down. Like, you know, when this came up in the debates and everything, he was kind of cagey about it, right? Because you don't want to piss off, you know, the anti-abortion lobby that are really big supporters of yours. But now that you're not going to, you know, you don't have to worry about getting elected again. It doesn't matter. There's no way that he would sign a national abortion ban. I very highly doubt that. Okay. The other big one is across the board tariffs. Oh man. Well, Donald Trump says that he wants to impose across the board tariffs, but I don't think that even a 55 vote majority Republican Congress will pass a across the board tariff. In fact, you know, in many respects, Republicans are kind of more anti-tariff than Democrats are. So I think that you could see some targeted tariffs. I think that you could see enough of a heat up in the rhetoric over the trade war that maybe China decides to come in and make a deal early and resolve that. I would hope that would be the best thing for everybody economically, is that China just, you know, hey, we're in a bad place economically right now. We really, a trade war would be really, really bad. We should just make a deal. But let's see. Okay. Taking over the Fed. Donald Trump says that he wants a say on the Federal Reserve. But what does that mean? Well, he's not going to pass legislation that like gives him a vote on the Federal Reserve Board or anything like that. No. But what he will do is he probably will change the Federal Reserve president. Now, who he's going to replace him with, I have no clue. I can't even imagine who he would put as the new Fed chairman. There was some people that he tried to appoint to the Federal Reserve Board that Congress didn't let in, that even the Republicans were like, no, that's too, they're too crazy. So there is a check there. But you know, he was going to want to put somebody in there that will listen to him more at the very least, because he really feels that they kind of screwed him over and with interest rates, and that they made a mistake, which they did. I mean, he was right in the end. I understand why it came out the way that it was. I tell you what, and I've seen so much stuff out there about this, where they're like, oh, you know, if Donald Trump wins, then the Federal Reserve is going to hold off on interest rates. I really don't think so. I mean, they're going to cut interest rates tomorrow, almost certainly. Okay. Internment camps. So there was a commercial from Kamala Harris basically suggesting to Asian Americans that Donald Trump would create internment camps, which is absolutely ridiculous. There's absolutely nothing that would suggest that anything like that would happen. Okay. So what will happen? So I've got a couple more on here that I need to add. Okay. There will be Renew 2025 Renew tax cuts set to expire in 2020. That's definitely going to happen. Okay. I also think that there will be, like, let's say, well, let's just call it Make America Healthy Again. So a lot of people have been kind of skeptical about this, but Donald Trump so far has been doing a lot of things that he didn't have to do. It seems to me that Donald Trump is all in on this Make America Healthy pact that he has made with RFK. So I think that you are going to see some changes there. And it's going to be really, really interesting what they decide to do. I'm going to guess that there are a lot of ingredients that are in our food that are like for coloring and things like that that are banned in Europe, and they're going to ban them here. I think that that is a thing that will happen. Now, will they ban glycophosphates? I don't see that one happening, but who knows? Who knows? Or maybe they just have more strict requirements about how you need to wash it to make sure that there's not any glycophosphate on your vegetables, right? Yeah, the purge. Okay, so a government purge is happening for sure. And this is the thing. I think that some of the people out there that are maybe not as politically engaged may have kind of missed this overall narrative in the race. So you may have heard a lot about Project 2025, which is this document created by a conservative think tank that's basically like, this is what you should do, and they say that it's like this crazy fascist agenda. Well, the thing in Project 2025 that the left is really quote unquote scared about is basically a government purge. Basically, the conservatives are saying that there are many appointees and people in government jobs, management jobs, that are all in on the liberal agenda and are doing everything that they can to kind of gunk up the works and work against any Republican administration. And so for any Republican administration to be effective, essentially, they're going to have to come into all of these roles and fire all of those people. This was something that kind of happened during Obama's administration. Like he really put in all of his political appointees, and they really put in loyalists as much as they could. And that was when the government really started to become like this. So the Republicans are going to work very hard to reverse it. And Elon Musk is having his whole, government waste commission and stuff. Yeah, there's going to be a lot of government jobs that will be eliminated for sure. A lot of government jobs that will be eliminated. And when it happens, you will see like people will throw a complete fit. The left will throw a complete fit, and everybody will kind of be like, okay, whatever. Like, honestly, like, that's what I always found funny about the Project 2025 thing, is like they make such a big deal about it. This is a fascist government coming in and everything. But then it's like, you watch when it actually happens, nobody's going to care, because you're talking about firing political appointees in the government. And most Americans kind of think that the government is bloated anyways. So nobody's going to care. But it's going to be interesting. It's going to be a narrative that you want to look for, right? Trade war. I kind of got ahead of myself. I do think we will see a trade war, just not across the board tariffs. Right? Ukraine. What will happen with Ukraine? Well, let's see here. Let's go back for a couple of comments. Live Action says, I remember him saying if Putin doesn't agree to peace, he will send him more weapons than ever before. He also said Europe will have to stop supporting Russia financially. Ooh, okay. Do you have a source for that? I do kind of vaguely remember some things like that, but every time that the Ukraine war issue has popped up, Donald Trump has kind of played coy with it. He was basically like, oh, I'll fix it. I just want people to stop dying, right? And he has been pretty vague, quite frankly, on what he will do with Ukraine. I do see a strong possibility of him forcing Ukraine into some sort of a truce, which would include giving up territory. Like, I kind of feel like at this point, there are some areas that have such a strong Russian ethnic majority in there that it just doesn't really make sense to fight over those lands anymore. I mean, it's a problem because then that's going to encourage Russia to just do it again. Send people into those areas and then say, oh, we need to invade it because we're worried about our Russians, you know, ethnic Russians and all of this stuff. But yeah, I think he wants to end it. But he doesn't want to appear weak. That's the big thing. More than anything, Donald Trump wants to appear strong. So he's not going to do something that makes himself look really weak. He has to do it has to be done in a way that makes Donald Trump appear like the winner, right? So, you know, Putin might do that. You might see something like that. Putin makes some sort of a concession that makes America look like the winner, and then you resolve that whole thing. Is that what should happen? I don't know. I'm not the foreign policy expert, per se. But did you say Biden already? No, I don't really remember that. But yeah, but I find this a case that Live Action is talking about here, where Russia doesn't really play along with Donald Trump, and so Donald Trump escalates things. That would be a mighty interesting surprise. Okay. Transports. Yeah. I think it's very likely, especially now that we have a 55 vote majority in the Senate, that Republicans will strengthen Title IX restrictions to ensure that only biological females play in female college sports. I think that one's going to happen. And you know what? Most Americans agree with that. And I think that that's what needs to happen. It's just being born a male is just too big of an advantage in sports. And it undermines female sports and I think really actively hurts women. It's like, you know, there are scholarships that women lose out on. People aren't going to be as interested as watching the competitions because they don't see them as legitimate. There'd be less women wanting to participate. It's going to happen. Now, on the foreign policy thing, the first big thing that I would be looking at, like things that could happen between now and when Donald Trump gets put into office, you are going to see developments in Ukraine and you're going to see developments in Israel. You know, the Iran was kind of talking like, excuse me, they were going to do something. So you might see another spat between Israel and Iran. Further escalation. I don't know. We'll see. What that's going to be. But, and one of the things that I would be looking for is like, how long does it take Bibi to congratulate Donald Trump on winning the election? That's going to have a huge impact on how Donald Trump treats Israel, I think. So that's, I think we should put that in the video. Israel. Next couple of months, Biden might run out of ink signing executive orders. Well, he might do some. So you're going to see Biden do things. The things that he's going to do are going to be things that, like, it will be difficult for you to just rescind. Okay, so I don't know which those are. One of the things that I do kind of really think will happen, honestly. I don't want to sound crazy by saying this, but I don't know. Like, being as sure as I am that this is going to happen is a little bit crazy, but I think most of you will agree that, like, it's a possibility. I do think that Joe Biden will pardon his son. And you know what? Because this whole thing, like, going after your son as political enemies and all that sort of thing, I don't think that would be good for the country. And Donald might do it. And they might go after Joe Biden himself. You know? I don't know. It's I have really mixed feelings on this, because on one hand, like, I do believe that Joe Biden was involved in some corruption, and I would like to see him held accountable. But at the same time, holding your political enemies, quote unquote, accountable when you're in office, and like who gets prosecuted, it depends on who's in office and everything. That's not a world we want to live under either, you know? I would prefer, and so even though I want to see Joe Biden held accountable, I think that it would be better for Donald Trump to just let it go. Trump should let it all go, flex bigly, and go out a champ. We'll see. There is going to be some litigation, man. There is going to be some litigation. For starters, all of these court cases and stuff that they have against Donald Trump, they're still gonna be pushing those. Like, could they try to put Donald Trump in jail before he takes office? It's a possibility. I think it's a remote possibility, but it might be. It might happen. It might happen. And then there are crimes that they claim happen that they're going to pursue as well. So I think when we get into the, picking his cabinet and all of that sort of stuff, the most interesting one is going to be who he selects as his attorney general. Who Donald Trump selects as his attorney general is probably the most interesting one, because that was the position that he had the most trouble with, right? And he regrets like who he put in and all of these sorts of things. Does he have a pick now that will be a really good, solid attorney general for him? We'll see. But I think that he wants somebody that at the very least is going to pursue like election fraud stuff. When I went to sleep, man, all of the guys on the Donald, they were freaking out because there was all of these talks of there's going to be ballot, absentee ballot drop at 1 o'clock, and there's all of these trucks out front of the collection counting center in Pittsburgh and all of this sort of stuff. Like, they thought that they were going to try and steal it again. And, if there was any evidence at all of election fraud, they're going to pursue it very aggressively. I think they should move on from the past and be unburdened from all of Dem's garbage schemes. Yeah, well, and that's what my third section here is about. If we're going to make a video for this, I think I will try and record a video about this today, maybe, so that we can like put it out on Monday. There are a couple of things out there that I think are, Republicans would really like to do, but weren't really talked about during the campaign, that I think are real possibilities to happen. And a lot of these are things that, in my opinion, and quite frankly, I am biased. Okay, I am a Republican. These are things that frankly, like, there are big problems, but I feel that they are manufactured problems. These problems can be fixed very, very easily, and it's just Democrats are preventing Republicans from doing anything about it. Okay, and the number one issue on there is election reform. I think that now that if they have a 55 vote majority in Congress, Republicans could pursue election reform and set some federal requirements for elections that states need to follow. And I don't know, there might be fights and stuff about that, but I think that their goals would be like voter IDs. Voter ID would probably be what part of the big push. And I also think that in all ballots need to be counted on election night, and you can't accept the ballots after election night would also be a part of it. Maybe I would like to see just no vote by mail whatsoever. I think that you should only be able to vote by mail if you request an absentee vote and can prove that you are out of the country. Otherwise, you should have to show up on election day. That's the way that I feel it should be, and what would be best. And paper ballots. I don't know if those ones would necessarily make it through, though. But election reform, something very possible that Republicans could pursue, I think they'd be interested in, but hasn't really been talked about. The big one for me, end all subsidies for college loans. Yes. Obama expanded federal subsidies for college loans. It has ballooned the cost of education. That's why now they're all talking about doing student loan forgiveness and all that sort of stuff. Yeah, Trump is going to come in and put the kibosh on that almost immediately. And then I think that you might see them end the subsidies and change the rules there. That'll be a big shift. It'll be a big shift. It hasn't been talked about. I think it's something that there's a pretty good chance that we could see something with it. Okay. I was just thinking about something else here. What was I thinking about? Well, now I don't remember. Anyways, something that's kind of been brewing that could happen in a Republican administration. Like, I don't know, this one is kind of a little bit more out there, but Harris was talking about legalizing marijuana. I think that Donald Trump would legalize marijuana. It could happen. Could happen. I don't think that marijuana would be good for the country as a whole. Oh, you know what it was? It was address housing. So the cost of housing is a huge issue. Both Trump and Kamala Harris talked about this during their campaigns, but it was not nearly as big of an issue as I thought. If Kamala Harris's campaign, instead of being all in on abortion, was all in on making housing more affordable, and I think that in order for this to be effective, they would maybe have to drop some of their stupid proposals that they had, like, you know, giving first-time home buyers more money. That won't solve. That'll just make things worse. Okay, but with the right messaging, could she have done better? Maybe. I kind of think that things were so screwed up that really there was nothing that she could do. But I think that she probably would have performed better if she had focused on housing. And it's not something that Donald Trump has focused on, but it is such a big problem. I think that they will probably try to address it in some form or another. What they will do, I'm not 100% sure. But I think that you're going to see them trying to address housing. And then the last one, this is like the big wild card, man. Obamacare. In Trump's first term, they tried to just reverse Obamacare. And that didn't work, and it was really close. And John McCain, that was kind of like John McCain's parting stab at Donald Trump, right? Was that. I think that they're going to want another look at it. What that's going to look like, I have no clue. Remember, they have concepts of a plan. But, that might be something that Republicans get to. We'll see. Nancy asks, tomorrow, I think the Fed cuts rates, but the market is priced it in, so it won't affect things, right? Question mark. Wrong. No. So there are some things that cannot be priced in. So here's the thing that you need to understand about the markets. And this is a critical thing that we understand here on this channel that you're not going to hear pretty much anywhere else. But it has a very strong empirical backing, and this is a large part of why the market seems like so confusing to people, is because we have some of these ideas about how the market works that are wrong. People think that the market is efficient and that like it prices in all available information, and that's not true. The market is not efficient at all. We all have this concept of market efficiency and we try to trade on it. So the market tries to be efficient. But the reality is that there are inefficiencies baked into the very structure of the market that prevents this theoretical market efficiency from being achieved. So the reality is that the stock market is a record of the people buying and selling the asset and nothing more. And if somebody comes in and buys a lot of it, it's going to move the asset up and vice versa. So if you can predict the future orders, you can predict, generally whether it's going to go up or it's going to go down. And so the issue with specifically a Federal Reserve meeting, there are some things that can't be priced in. Basically, orders will come no matter what. There are some issues where the orders will come no matter what, and so it can't be priced in. I do really wonder about the Treasuries because, man, they've sold this thing hard. And meanwhile, the Fed is on a dovish cutting cycle. So how do you sort that one out? I don't know, but I'm kind of eyeing them that TLT, maybe thinking about buying TLT. DAX's selling off was up the whole day. Well, so we got in about 7 minutes, the S&P 500 opens up, and then we'll see how they react to that. That could be interesting. I remember trading when ES was around 600 in 09, and now it is nearly 6K. Going out on a limb, probably going to be far better off if I just bought and held. Yeah, one does have to wonder, what the future returns of the stock market is going to be. So maybe something that I should put in here if I'm going to make a video here about this. I'm going to put mild economic weakness. Okay, so there are some proposals that Donald Trump has that are very beneficial to the economy. There are some proposals that Donald Trump has that are very harmful to the economy. I'm a little bit skeptical about how far he can go with those and how much damage they would actually do. But even without all of Donald Trump's proposals, the labor market is really rough right now. The labor market is really rough right now. We might be in for a little bit of an up and down next 6 months. And overall, the stock market is just up super big time anyways. So, could there be some reversion on this? Because, expected future returns in stocks is based on all of these different metrics and stuff are expected to not be very good. The whole issue is bigger picture. We have taken on an insane amount of debt and have not really utilized it very well. We're not really getting super strong economic growth off of all of that debt. We're not. And we need to grow faster if we're ever going to jump out of this hole. And now that debt is kind of going to be a drag on GDP. And that's something that you might see during the Trump administration is slightly lower returns, not necessarily because of Donald Trump, but just because of the overall economic situation that we have right now. Okay, well, you guys didn't contribute a whole lot, but no, I'm just kidding. I did get a bunch of good ideas about some things to add in here that we could talk about. It would probably be too big of a video, but we're going to try and go for it. I don't have really anything going on today, so I'm going to go for it. So now I think that we have covered the important things here, yeah? Which means that we can now go and check out the salt market. Yeah? What's this? Reddit turns on Latinos. Oh boy. Oh wow. Some of these comments that this person is posting from Reddit are so bad I don't think I can even say them on stream here. But I put it on here and you can read it yourself if you want. That's What do you think? Do you think Reddit will be a ghost town? I'm kind of thinking that Reddit will be much less active without the Kamala Harris astroturfers out and about. Let's see what we get. Politics. Okay, here's the thread. This is the one that you're gonna see the most gnashing and wailing of his teeth, right? Reddit is a cesspool regardless. It is. I don't know why we're about to elect the first American dictator. Okay, listen. If he goes through one more term rather, and then that's the end of him, he's not a dictator. So stop saying crazy things, Reddit. Change my view. Trump's victory kills environmental progress. Well, I kind of really question what kind of quote-unquote progress we've actually been making on the environment under a Biden administration. But there's probably a lot of green energy subsidies that have been coming through under Democrat administrations that's going to go away, for sure. For sure. For Kamala to announce that she won't concede tonight is an insult to democracy, says David Sachs. Actually, you know what? Has she not conceded yet? Because, like, it's 9 o'clock. Like, you should have woken up and conceded. I had not thought about that. How long is it going to take? She's got to do it today. Come on. If she doesn't do it today, that's going to be a huge... They're going to get real shit for that. Technical term there, shit. Yeah. Communist streamer Hassan Piker announces he's moving to Japan. Twitch. We got a level here, Twitch. Hassan is holding you back, man. Just ban the guy. Like, seriously. Why are you keeping this guy on your roll? He is objectively harming your website. Just get rid of him. Good grief. I'm gonna ruin the whole website over one guy. Wow, 14K comments on r/news. Let's start there. Look at some states that were predicted as, quote, safe blue. New Jersey, 2020 margin 15.9, 2024 margin 4.7, an 11.2% swing. Illinois, 9.9, New York, 13.3, Connecticut, 8.4, Rhode Island, 7.6. Wow. What a massive loss by the Democrats. This is a loss for all the planet. You'll see. Oh my God. Yep. They'll have no humility. They'll take no culpability. They'll continue to lecture people for being correct about their ineptness. So, question. Donald Trump has a historic victory here. Why? What really was the deciding factor behind why his victory was so great? Is it that people really want Donald Trump and his agenda? Is it because Kamala Harris was a really poor candidate? Well, those are both possibilities and probably played a factor. But I kind of wonder if the die was cast several months ago when they decided to go with Joe Biden again, and then when Joe Biden was forced to drop out and they didn't have a real primary, and Americans are just sick of the Democrat Party in general and how absolutely retarded and ridiculous and inept they have become. I kind of wonder. Because if it's the last one, then there's going to be a pushback the other way at some point, right? Like maybe the midterms, they come back and, you know, they say, hey, well, sorry, if it's not the last one. I mean, if it's the last one, then, you know, Democrats will have problems in 2026 as well, right? I'm sick over not holding that long yesterday. One contract would have returned 10K. Really? Oh, no, wait. You long in the not in the treasuries, right? Which one are you talking about? By the way, now's a good time for us to come in over here and look at some things because the S&P is open. I want to look at TLT here. 89. Actually, you know what? Let's come and look at options for them. I don't think I'm going to take an option position in TLT, but I am interested in what the options might be telling us about treasuries. Okay. TLT. And let's look at December. Not a ton of volume in there. Oh, wow. The prices aren't that bad. Last 2.52 for calls and 1.72 for puts. That's interesting. I don't think I want to make a play on options, but I'm kind of wondering if there's a possibility that, you know, if the treasuries turn up between now and December, that they would do so more quickly than that. Yes, well, I don't know, man. Live action. I mean, holding positions into election night like that is awfully big gamble. And yeah, you're gonna win big on it, but I don't know if it's really worth it. Cause like, what if Kamala Harris had won? It could have destroyed you, and we didn't really know what was gonna happen. I mean, I've thought for a long time that Donald Trump was likely to win, but I wasn't confident enough on it to bet money on it, right? Oh, cool. Okay. Brace yourself for some selling in the treasuries, because I just bought some TLT. Only $1,000. Is that too much? I don't know. But I've had some cash in the Mad Money account sitting there for a long time, kind of waiting around. That's where I did it. And I just put it in at the last price, and they immediately filled me. So, okay. Easy enough. Limit order gets filled. Now let's get these treasuries moving up now, huh? The stock market added 1.5 trillion in the past 24 hours. Really? Yeah, like, the interesting thing is the S&P is up, what, 2%? Wait, did I not show that earlier? Oh, you know what? When we were looking at, oh my gosh, guys, when we were going through the charts, I was like, oh, I thought the S&P bought. I had my chart like this. It wasn't showing the move. Okay, yeah, they did move up in equities. Okay, cool. So when you guys are looking at this historically in 100 years, please forgive me for that little mistake when I was looking at the initial stuff. Oh, okay. That's a big move up in the S&P 500. What does it look like on a daily chart? Oh, it's new highs. Okay, cool. Could they give that up though? I don't know. It's gonna be. Let me tell you what. It's gonna be a very interesting Federal Reserve press conference tomorrow, won't it? Oh man, so we were supposed to be salt mining, huh? It's a loss for any sane person and any person who is a minority. Okay. He won the popular vote. Minorities voted for him, yes. Man, how many hidden comments are there going to be on here? I didn't hide those, did I? Minorities won Trump the election. Oh my gosh, look at this. A win for anyone who owns crypto. Guys, it's gonna be one of the most fascinating things. I think that what we're about to see among Democrats is going to be worthy of generations worth of study, because you're basically going to see it like they are going to just completely, it is just completely destroys their worldview, right? Like, remember 2 days ago when they were like, oh, here's this poll that shows that Kamala Harris is actually up in Iowa. Dude, she's gonna run away with this. Yeah, that poll is awfully funny looking back on now, isn't it? Right? But so it's not just like last time when Donald Trump won, there was a real conniption fit, right? And remember, we said, like, if Donald Trump wins after them fighting him so hard, Democrats are really going to take it hard. They really are, right? But him having won with such a margin, and it wasn't even like in the popular vote, it was still pretty close. But like Republicans just absolutely dominating the Senate. They have to rethink their entire political message and everything about their party. And how they decide to go about that is going to be a fascinating thing to study. Guys, people do really weird stuff when their reality is challenged. When I was a missionary, I was a Mormon missionary in Independence, Missouri. And in Independence, Missouri, there is a shoot off of the LDS Church called the Reformed Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. And over the past 30, 40 years, there's been a lot of controversies in that church. For instance, they joined this consortium of Protestant churches, and they had to abandon the Book of Mormon, and they had their prophet resigned, and all of these other crazy things. And so a lot of wards, congregations that they had there broke off and started their own churches and stuff. Because basically what was happening was their whole reality, their whole thinking about what their church was and what they thought was true was directly challenged by the reality of things in a way that they just they couldn't deal with. And people went different ways. Some people made split off churches. Some people became even more extreme. Other people became atheists. It's a wild mess, and it was one of the most interesting and fascinating things I had ever seen in my life. And you're about to see the Democrat Party go through that. Sev, you must be raking it in off of this channel. I noticed more commercials lately. You know what? Live action, that's so funny, because yesterday YouTube said you should really turn these on. Most channels notice a 20% increase in revenue or something like that. I'm like, okay, fine. You asked, because there was a period where I was like, let's just turn them on. I don't know if it matters. But I saw that and I was like, yeah, you know what? We kind of need it right now. I'm gonna not be shy about it, guys. I'm between jobs. My wife is working. She's doing pretty good. I have all of my expenses under control. I have good savings and I have good family support. So, we're fine. We're eating and everything. But, the stream is a source of income now. I don't make that much from the stream. It's only a few $100 a month. But I've have some saved up. So, that's kind of some of my backup funds that I might have to use, depending on how long this goes. I hope that this ends soon, but the labor market is tough. So I am looking for ways to increase revenue. I am kind of looking at things a little bit differently at the moment. And one of those things was, I'm sure that showing ads on the live stream should probably be okay. It's interesting that it seems like you're noticing a lot of them, though. Maybe YouTube is sending more commercials than we would like. I don't know. By the way, I should also say, I'm really happy with our indicator suite. We have made some changes, did some changes that I've kind of been working on a long time, and I was just finally able to really, really, address it. And so that we can do back tests. And I'm really excited about that. And people are responding. We've got a lot more purchases for the indicators and everything. So I'm really excited about that. And thank you for everybody that's purchased that. At some point, I might have to increase the cost of it, but we're going to keep it that way for now. But, if it starts to turn into like the amount of time and effort that I have to spend on it, that I have to justify increasing the price. So you might want to jump in on it. If you're thinking about getting it, you should just do it now. That's what I'm saying. Obsidian, good morning. What a wonderful day. Yeah. I don't want to like color it with like my opinion of things and everything, but it's interesting to see. I wonder, does the result last night change your view of things? So, it's kind of like there's that big event that kind of fogs the future. Does that like clear things up? Like, do you see a different vision for the future that you did before? And more importantly, are there like maybe some things that you can do differently now than you were? I'm kind of wondering if I need to focus on trying to stream on conservative platforms more. Basically Rumble. It seems like Rumble is where the Republicans are doing stuff. And I would like to talk economics with the conservatives. Because I'm kind of looking at all of these things. Like, there's all of these conservative influencers now, streamers. There's Steven Crowder. There's Dan Bongino. There's Charlie Kirk. There's Russell Brand now is over there, right? Those are all on Rumble and regularly do live streams. What about Tucker Carlson and what's the girl's name? I can't. I'm. But anyways, who do they go for to talk about economic stuff? And you know what? I don't think that some of their options are that great. And I'm like, I should be talking on these places. Do you have any idea about how to do that? I would be interested. Maybe I need to like hire an agent to get me on those live streams. Be interesting. But I think I can stream to both platforms. Yes, I can. I have things set up, and what happens is like I just forget. I just forget. It's like not a huge deal. And like I'll do it for a week, and then the next day I'll forget because it's not in my mind. So I don't have it all set up here at the moment, so I won't bother going over there at the moment. But I totally forgot. We are doing a live stream today. We are doing the Ninja Trader live stream, which will be at 9:30 my time. So 30 minutes after we end the stream, essentially. Your indicators are programmed. They are in C#. They are in C#. So, oh yeah, I should cover this again as well. Where is it? Funny, I probably closed it. Yeah. Yes, this is this one. Oh, did I not save it? Oh my gosh, guys. So dumb. now I don't remember all of the different things that we had. We had so many good ones. Yes, you know what I can do? I can go and I can look it up. I can go and look it up. So this is, you know, Seth needs to shake things up a little bit because that's what gives him the dopamine. And, you know, so these are some of the ideas about things that we can change. And if you have some ideas, you should bring them up and we'll have like a vote tomorrow. Let's go to yesterday's live, though. Over here. Yes, that's right. Okay. Change nothing. I had this as momentum strategies. Python data pipeline. Make own platform in Rust. Oh, that's right. Okay. I've never coded in C++. Is C# the same as C++? Because if it is, I can probably load it up right away in Sierra with a few tweaks. No. So, one of the choices on this list, and I do think that we're gonna have to narrow this down a little bit. Like, I think that these ones shouldn't be a part of the vote. Coming, but maybe later. Okay. This is more like, what are some things that we might actively do on the stream? So this is change nothing, and focus on ZN trades more. Oops, that was weird. I don't know how you change that. There we go. Okay. Change nothing, focus on the end trades more. Yellow trade equity indexes. Backpass momentum strategies. Work on our Python data pipeline. Make our own platform in Rust, or do indicators for CR charts. Yeah, that's good. So that's what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And are we allowed that many? Start a poll. I can only have 4. So let's put the Python data pipeline down there. And this one. There we go. I'm going to see what you guys think about that tomorrow. Unless you have other ideas. If you have other ideas, add them in there. Okay, so, but I'm not answering Obsidian Futures question. Okay, C# is substantially different from C++. So the big thing that separates C++ from other programming languages is that C++ you have to directly manage memory. So if you create an object, it doesn't just get released for you. So in C# what happens is there's a garbage collector. Like if I create a string, okay, and then the thing that was looking at the string it's not referenced by anything anymore, then the garbage collector comes along and it says, oh, nothing's looking at this object anymore, I'm just going to release it. And that's how a garbage collector works. C++ does not do that for you. C++, you have to come in and say, okay, I allocated some memory for this buffer or whatever it is. Now I have to free that memory up. Now there are some big advantages that can come from that because allocating and freeing memory can be an expensive process. And so if you can decide when it's going to happen, you can significantly improve or change the performance of your application, right? So that's the first thing is that you kind of have to worry about when you're working in C++. The other thing is that in C# allows you to build applications in event-driven manner, which means that like there's a method called onMarketDepth, and every time that NinjaTrader receives new market depth information, that onMarketDepth function is called, and then I can put everything that I want to do in that onMarketDepth. Okay, it does not work that way in CR charts. So like the whole structure of the program basically has to change in CR charts. So I've done it before. I've changed one of them, made it on CR charts and done one of them. They do kind of have a method and things to deal with it, but there is some of that program management about when you do things and how you deal with and how you queue things up and everything that you have to manage specifically. So it is actually quite a bit of work to convert my indicators over to Sierra charts. I think that we can do it, but you know it would be some real work. Like you're really gonna have to have a lot of people that want to buy the indicators for Sierra charts for me to justify doing it, because it's probably going to be a few weeks of work. But we'll see where it comes out tomorrow. Again, I want to do it tomorrow because I want to, maybe even Friday. Maybe we'll do it Friday or maybe next Monday. Because I want to give you guys some time to think about it and maybe think, oh, here's something else you could do. Or also, if you have ideas that are like revenue generating ideas about a business that are maybe not even related to what we're doing here with day trading and finance, maybe we could approach those too. Because, you know, anything that's like business, you know, we could potentially put on this channel, right? So. Well, it does seem like that we're getting a reasonably okay uptrend in the treasuries now. So there's that. Okay, where were we? Oh, yes, we were reading Reddit. Dude, why are all of these comments, like, hidden? The tears heal me. So basically everybody that's been holding off on commenting on Reddit because they can't, you know, they know that the astroturfing will just downvote them to oblivion are now popping out and saying stuff. That's funny. This was allowed to happen. Exit polls showed that the economy was the main reason to vote for Trump. The average American just looks at how their wallet looks and votes accordingly. Popular vote proved it. That is a factor, I guess. I don't know if that's the main reason to vote for Trump. Not only did Trump win, Republicans got the House and Senate, and Trump will be appointing 2 more Republican justices. Will they really? Oh, maybe the Republican justices will retire, but who would they be replacing on the liberal side? Would it be Kagan? That one's kind of interesting because like she's relatively new to it anyways, but she's like old apparently. This is embarrassing. He'll get 2 more Supreme Court justices. My lifetime is decided. Oh no, you're gonna die because of Donald Trump? Okay. Yeah, he will be able to replace Thomas and Alito to keep a 6-3. That's what I was kind of thinking. Aline Cannon and Matthew Kasmayark, are those the next 2 people on his short list? Because we still have the short list, so we do kind of know who they would be. But who is he going to set as the Federal Reserve Chairman? They're going to ask him that tomorrow. It's going to be interesting, man. I can't believe he actually won the popular vote. I thought that would never happen. Did I not say that? Did I not say that like 2 days ago? I was like, I think that if Trump wins, he'll win the popular vote. I said that, didn't I? Do I get credit for this? What's the feeling about the future vice president? Well, Republicans have been really, really impressed with how well J.D. Vance has performed in the role of vice president. And here's the thing. J.D. Vance is young. I actually think he's maybe a little bit older than me, but me and J.D. Vance are basically the same age. He has been absolutely stellar, interviewing, talking to media, etc., etc. And so I think that he has a bright future in the Republican Party. I don't know if he's at the short list to be president, but it could happen. You know, Donald Trump kind of feels to me like Donald Trump has kind of been taking him under his wing. He's going to learn everything about what's involved in president. So if he does become president, he will be very well equipped to tackle that challenge. It's just, you know, there's some other people like Ron DeSantis. I don't know. What will the 2028 race bring? That's going to be a very interesting one for Republicans. Because then you're going to have the first opportunity to fight over globalism and the heart of the Republican Party without Trump being on the ballot. And who picks up the torch? Because it does seem to me that we've had a major political shift that is just going to sweep up the Republican Party, you know, from those working class people. So we'll see. But I think that you'll see a lot more of J.D. Vance during Trump's presidency than you ever saw of Kamala Harris during Biden's presidency. Right? By the way, while I'm thinking about it, I want to pull up this, because we're going to be talking about this on the Ninja Trader live stream today. No, not that one. Is it this one? Yeah, it's this one. That's what I would expect to. Kamala Harris was not present at all, at least from a foreign perspective. Well, they kind of hit her. She was there at the beginning, and she did such a bad job that the Biden administration was basically hiding her. This happened in Italy too. Berlusconi was exactly like Trump, and no matter what scandals came out about him or how many laws he broke, he consistently won elections for 20 years. That is true. I remember he was the Bukake party guy, right? Judging from the turnout numbers, this election seems less like America picking Trump rather than America not picking Kamala. I kind of feel like that too. Which is why it's kind of like, like maybe Democrats could bounce back. The whole question is, how much of a soul search does the Democrat Party need to go on? Because I think that they need to just completely rethink their party. But I'm not so sure that that's going to completely happen. There's going to be some of that, but not completely. I expected him to win, but narrowly she got obliterated. Yeah, I mean, to some extent it was narrow, and in some respects it was an overwhelming victory. I mean, I think the thing is that for president, it was actually pretty narrow. Okay, like his win margin in all of these swing states was really close, guys. Really close. And the popular vote, 1% difference. It's really close. Okay. The Republican margin of victory, though, in the Senate, that makes it huge. Yes. Don't tell me that euthanizing a squirrel changed the course of history. You know what? Let's just run with that for the meme's sake. Yes, it was Peanut. Peanut saved America with his life. Let us always remember Peanut's sacrifice. See, this is the sort of stuff that I'm looking for. I've missed from Reddit. I've missed that persistent feeling of existential dread for the last 4 years. Nice to have it back. Always wondering what headlines I'll see each morning. You don't enjoy the headlines, man? Come on. You know what? Honestly, I'm really, really ecstatic that Donald Trump won. Mostly because it's going to be good content. It is. I think that there's some big changes that could be really good for the country. But Biden administration was kind of boring. Spice it up, yes. Social media really isn't a reflection on reality. Yeah, because you astroturfed TF out of it. The crazy thing is that no matter what happens over the next 4 years, the people who voted for Trump won't believe anything is his fault if things go south. He could screw up everything and anything and everything, and they'll still blame Democrats. Yeah, it's true. Like if we go into a recession during Trump's term, they're totally going to blame Joe Biden for it. It's going to be like, we're already in the position where we're like destined for a recession. I'm not so sure that that's going to happen, but you know what? Like, I don't, one might think a naive Republican who doesn't know much about the market might think, okay, so we had this decline and then come back up, and then it'll just be, smooth sailing from here, and this is Trump's presidency, right? No, that's not what's gonna happen. It's gonna be like, it's gonna be all over the place, man. Because there's gonna be some things that he does that the market's gonna absolutely love, and there's gonna be some things that he does that the market's absolutely gonna hate. And I think that with a lot of his policies, Like, tariffs really are the best example. There's kind of a give and a take with it. Understand, tariffs overall tend to be bad for economies. And we have a very long history to refer back to about how tariffs tend to go. But in spite of all of that, almost every country in the world right now has some form of tariff imposed. Okay, so there is kind of this, like, yeah, it would be great if we didn't have any tariffs, but like, countries do things and you kind of have to protect yourself. So it's kind of more of a, everybody's going to have tariffs. There's kind of a question of what tariffs should you actually have and what the specifics and how you utilize that to negotiate with other countries and that whole sort of a thing, right? And so that's where it's kind of like, yeah, okay, he puts a tariff on and he has a trade war, market's not going to like that. But then if it's successful and they form a trade agreement with China, the market's going to love that. And so you're going to see some volatility in there. Now, another thing is that when we had the trade war before, Donald Trump had a much stronger economy than he did now. So there's going to be some times where he's going to be like, you know what, I wanted to do this, but we can't do it right now because there's too much risk for it. You might see some of that. Maybe he'll focus more on the things that, you know, he feels like there's, this is my dream. My dream is that we get a president that, starting from the beginning of his presidency, focuses more on things that he thinks there's a pretty broad agreement on and fixes some of these really systemic problems that we've had for a long time, particularly election integrity, college loans, and housing, Medicare, like all of these sorts of things. Medicare probably didn't go on that list because that's too controversial. But you know, and the health issue with RFK is probably one of the ways that he's going to go on that as well, right? So there will be some really big benefits to the Trump presidency. There will probably be some things that, you know, maybe they're good for us in the long run, but probably aren't going to be good for markets in the short term, right? The class war has been won and we didn't win. I'm a little shocked to see somebody saying that and getting 2.8k upvotes from it. Oh, I understand, because they think that the class war is that the rich people support Donald Trump. I got you. Okay. He thinks that he's the lower working class and Donald Trump represents the rich, and they're gonna keep working class people down still. Yeah, because the billionaires won. Okay, I disagree with that. Okay. Well, that's it for our fight against climate change. No, my friend. Listen, the technologies, like green technologies that are being developed, even without government subsidies, will continue to develop. And from the data that I've seen, we are likely to solve this problem with our improvement in technology on its own. So you don't, this whole thing that like we have to put every little ounce of money that we have into solving climate change because it's an it's total nonsense. It's total nonsense. Number one, it's not an existential threat. Like, yes, it does seem to me that the earth is heating up, but I'm not an expert on that. Let's just assume that that's true. The degree of climate change that we're expecting is not an existential threat. It is a pretty big change to the planet that we don't want to have happen, though, and would have pretty negative economic impacts to people. It's just that it looks like with our technology that we're going to solve that problem on its own anyways. So we don't have to be putting all, doing all this crazy stuff like, making everybody's heating bill ridiculously expensive and all of those sorts of things. the problem is going to solve itself. It's kind of interesting, but that's where we're at. That Tim Walz barely eked out a win in his home state should tell you everything you needed to know. Let's come and look at the most controversial. Oh boy. A victory for the unborn. Hey, he's got 4 upvotes. I'll give you an upvote. Just because I'm impressed that you said that and you're not negative yet. This is what you wanted, America. It's Biden's fault. He should have ran as a one-term president. We should have had primaries, debates, everything. And hey, Kamala did not criticize Biden, right? I voted for Kamala and I campaigned for her. I did my part. Okay. That's funny, but he might be right. You know, what if Joe Biden hadn't run? How different would the world be? White women and Latino voters failed America. Dude, the blame game going around about, oh, it was this demographic that didn't vote out for us. It's all your fault is like super real in these comments, isn't it? Oh, man. Deport the illegals, fix the border. Yes. Make Reddit great again, yes. Please. It was never great, but like could we make it great maybe? I miss Reddit before 2015, yeah. I miss Dig. I want Dig back. You notice this is an ongoing theme? Dig was a better website than Reddit in almost every form except for the subreddit. If Dig had user-moderated subreddits and all that sort of stuff, would have been perfect. Oh well. Racism and misogyny over self-preservation is wild. This country is diseased. I can't wait for its implosion in the I told you so from the shock and awe of the so-called victims that cheered on their own demise. And don't worry, as an American citizen, born in California no less, I'm already making plans for my early exit. Not trying to hang around for end times. Good luck to all. Stay safe. You should have more than just -1, but okay. So this got me thinking, I have some friends that I was talking to. They were really preparing for the apocalypse, man. Oh man, what are they thinking today? It's interesting. Why the Dems never chose Bernie will always baffle me. That's a true leader with integrity. Maybe integrity is their problem. It actually does kind of baffle me that they never chose Bernie. Like, I think that Bernie is like a straight up communist, and I don't know if he could win an election. But I think that the Democrat Party as a whole would be in a much better place if they had chosen Bernie instead of Hillary Clinton. Because part of the problem is that you got this huge demographic of working class people in those quote unquote blue wall states that are very like what are you going to do when you run in 2028? You have a Republican that is running on the I'm going to help working class people, but doesn't have the same negatives as Donald Trump, or that at least the Democrat Party isn't able to portray him in the same way. Then the Dems have a really big problem, right? And you wouldn't have that problem if you had picked Bernie, I think. Maybe they still would have lost, but they would maybe have a leg to stand on here with the demographics that they're really struggling with. like men and black men and working class people. History will not forgive you for this, America. What have you done? I used to defend Americans when someone rolled out the Americans are stupid line. This is indefensible. The majority of your voters are thick as pig shit. Wow. You should be downvoted more. That was probably the most unhinged one I've read so far. You guys are so dramatic. Your life is not over. Your kids are still fine. Grow up hair. Oh, you know, I forgot. Today is Wednesday, so we get late start today. Kids, make sure to not say anything stupid. A lot of people will probably be dumb. Just kind of watch and enjoy it and remember this. I love how these people have a monopoly on history. I know. But like, this is the crazy thing here is that like one of the biggest narratives that we've seen since 2016 is, you know, like history is not going to look favorably on this and so on and so forth. No, y'all don't understand. Donald Trump is now one of the greatest presidents of all time. Like in terms of American memory of him and fondness, especially as we get further and further away from this, you know, I don't think that there's somebody that will be more beloved than since, well, maybe Ronald Reagan, but I was going to say Kennedy. It's like, if you were going to put a new face on Mount Rushmore, who would be the people that you would put? Kennedy, Reagan, and then I think, I really do think that Trump would be on there. Like, because the effect that he is going to have on the country now, because of this election, is mind-blowing. Because it's not just they won big time. The Republicans are going to have a bigger vote margin in the Senate than they've had in a very, very, very long time. And he is proposing pretty dramatic changes, pretty fundamentally dramatic changes to the way that, like, the global world order is set up and our whole economy is set up and everything. So, yeah, Donald Trump is basically going to make the future for better or for worse. And this idea that everybody is going to look back on it and was like, this shameful time and we'll all want to forget it. It's not going to be like that. Simply because he's going to have such a permanent impact now. You should read more of these in like medieval voice. Wait, what would a medieval voice sound like? If UB, ZV, and ZN are at highs, and UBZ breaks higher, then highs and ZN struggles at the high because of absorption and trade lower, which behavior should we expect from ZV? Can yields be helpful to confirm? Okay, so I kind of understand the scenario that you're setting up. I think that you're trying to look for the treasuries to tell you something that they can't necessarily tell you. So here's the thing. If we come over and we look at our yield curve, the spread, and what is it doing? Well, right now it is flattening. Was there a larger overall move during the night? It was steepening. Okay, so let's just stay, for the sake of argument, that we're seeing steepening. The scenario that you're setting up is the opposite. The scenario that you're setting up is basically that we are moving up and we are moving up and flattening, which I can't think of when that's happened. That one's the unusual one. Okay, we're moving up and we're flattening. Okay, so if we're moving up and we're flattening, we should expect to see ZB move more. And so you could see a situation where ZB breaks the highs, but the other ones don't, right? So what does that tell you? Well, that's just what you should expect to see happen when you're getting a bull flattener. The treasuries are moving up overall, but we are flattening. The ZB is moving up more. Okay. Now we can talk all about what kind of economic conditions kind of drive that and why that might be happening. And that's going to be really important in a situation like that. But the key thing to note there is that it is the yield curve that is doing the flow. Okay, the flow is coming into the yield curve and not the overall treasuries overall, right? So the kind of optimal trade for me in ZN is when I'm seeing the volume come in very aggressively across the board. And if we're at the highs, I'm going to see them all lined up right there, and I'm going to see volume come into all of them at the same time, pushing them higher and all of these sorts of things, right? Like, I like a situation where we're seeing a strong imbalance in the market orders, and it pushes all of them together, right? So the thing that you're looking at, or the scenario that you're painting, could you potentially predict if we're going to go higher or lower in that situation? Maybe, but that's going to have more to do with your reading of the flows. Like, why is it doing that at that time? And based on that, is there likely to be more volume to come in? But it doing that overall does, as far as I've seen, doesn't give you any kind of predictive advantage in telling if it's going to reverse or continue or anything like that. And really, it doing that sort of a thing in a situation like that is kind of a sign to me that, like, I don't want to touch it right now. Because what I want, when I want to touch it, is when I know that a good strong flow that's going to be very persistent is coming through, like a trend day. Okay, Uzi is reporting to us that Harris will deliver her concession speech around 6 p.m. Eastern time. Wait, she's going to wait until 6 p.m. tonight to give her concession speech? Are you kidding me? What the heck? Well, should we expect anything less from Kamala Harris? She's run a terrible campaign every step of the way. I guess we shouldn't be surprised that she does something kind of dumb and nonsensical with her concession speech too, by not doing it until like the day after. Crazy. You know what? Maybe it's because she's so drunk right now that she can't, give one in the morning. I'm not in on the conspiracy theory and everything, but like, she probably didn't. She's probably not doing very well right now. Let's be honest. So she lost. She's not happy right now. Imagine if she was obviously hungover during her concession speech. That would be, yeah. I tell you what, man. I don't. It is one of those things where it's like, okay, somebody will say something and they're like, look at this clip, and I think that this is what's happening in the clip, and if I kind of identify with them and I don't like the person, like, I'm gonna see it that way anyways. So I see it. When I watch some of those clips, it seems like she's drunk to me. Totally. This whole theory that like she is like a drunkard and all of that sort of stuff, like totally, I can totally see it. But then the logical part of my brain, this is the difference between me and other people, is that kind of logical part of my brain is just a little bit more adamant than other people. And it says, well, you don't really know what drunk people are like. You are not having enough interaction with her to really see that. You don't have enough information to be spreading around a conspiracy theory that she has a drinking problem. Okay. But obviously, I kind of like the theory, and I've seen some things about it that certainly kind of make me wonder, right? And if that theory was true, she's probably drunk right now. I'm just saying. But you know what? I think that most people, after losing like that, are gonna take a drink. Okay, like, do you ever see that picture of Mitt Romney after he lost. Like the next day or something like that, he was buying groceries at the store. Okay. Like that's what happens to a person when you don't have the bottle to drown your sorrows in. So I think most people would probably take a drink at some point. Yes. You like to bash here. Well, you know what, 007, to some extent, there's been a lot of things that I've wanted to say over the past 4 years that I've just kind of held back on because I'm like, it's not worth it right now. Like I'm not the kind of person that's like, I'm gonna be quiet and not say something because I'm afraid. You know, like in that situation, I almost feel like I have to say it to kind of like fight back. But then there's this part of me that's like, no. Be strategic. Things will change. Don't say anything stupid. And see, we waited, and now we can kind of have fun without having to say anything stupid. You know, it's just because now, yeah, I tell you what, man. Oh, geez. There's been so much astroturfing on Reddit and everything, right? All singing Kamala Harris's praises and making her out like, you know, the second coming of Christ and everything. Now that she's lost, you're going to see what people really think. And Americans tend to turn on the loser big time. Big time. And you're going to start seeing a lot of talk on Reddit and among Democrats about how big of a loser Kamala Harris is. Probably. So we can make fun of her now, basically, is what I'm saying. Is this a nightmare? Please wake me up. Men should be thrilled. Women will be back in their place. Oh, guys. Don't say. One of the things that I said on YouTube, not on YouTube, on my Facebook, was like, guys, Donald Trump's really likely to win. So, like, stop saying dumb things that you're going to regret having said in a week. You know? But then what do you know? What's going to happen? Then he wins, and then they're going to say even more dumb things that they're going to regret. Maybe it'll take a year for them to regret, but they're going to regret saying some of these things. I refuse to follow any 2025 rules. Project 2025 rules. I will gladly get arrested or try. Okay, dude. Do you own a government management job that you're afraid you'll be fired over? Otherwise, it doesn't matter. Good grief. I've never hated Americans before. This is why you lost, guys. Donald Trump, he'll say mean things. He'll attack other politicians. And you know what? Every politician deserves to be mocked to some extent. It includes Donald Trump, man. Listen, I'm not going to be one of them sycophants, right? I think that we could see some really good economic progress happen under a Trump administration. But I also think he's probably going to do some dumb things. And when, you know, the specific proposals come out, I'm going to tell you what I think about them. But the reason that one of the reasons that Donald Trump did so well is he attacks politicians and not Americans. And how can you be saying, you know, that you should give me the presidency or you should give me more political power, you should listen to me, and then at the same time saying that you just hate Americans overall? That's absolutely ridiculous. I love Americans, even the liberals. I think that the liberals and all of this, like, look at this. I'm not reading this here on Reddit being like, oh my gosh, these people, I hate them so much. Look at how ridiculous they are. I think it's fun. And I think it's part of the game. And people will react that way. That's just the way that people are. And it's one of those things that you just have to kind of accept about life and roll with the punches. You know, you kind of have to think about the Democrat Party like you're married, right? Because nothing goes perfectly smooth. Not everything goes perfectly smoothly when you get married, okay? If you feel like everything's going perfectly smoothly when you're married, there's not something about your partner that really bothers you, there's something wrong. That's like kind of a red flag. So when you're ignoring a problem, okay? You're in this relationship, and part of like having a successful marriage is learning that there are things that you're not going to like about people at first, and that you just deal with and learn to love. And that's what we got to do as a country, man. It's fun to watch and everything. Don't hate. Don't be a hater. There's a difference between ignoring a problem and not having. I'm just saying, if I'm very skeptical of this situation where there's marriages where there's not at least something about your partner that bothers you. And if you can't think of any, you're probably living in a delusion. I think there's even research on this, that like the couples that promote, that say there's absolutely no problems in my marriage whatsoever, are like the ones that are most likely to get divorced next. Is this a thing? Greetings for Croatia. Well, welcome to the stream, Mario. I'm glad to have you. Seth, do you know why Jigsaw would be showing the incorrect profit and loss in the positions window? Ooh, maybe. So where is that window, by the way? I've been talking for too long. My voice is going. Need to drink more, probably. Okay, so here's the window. I haven't taken any trades. Actually, I did take a trade, just not, I did it in stocks. And it's kind of more of a long-term trade. I don't think that this is one that I hold on for forever, but maybe a few years. Anyways, there's this little refresh button. If you click the refresh button, does it change? Oh, that's actually really weird. I'm up in ESNQYM, and it's showing a 4-tick profit for ES is $20 when it should be 50. That is weird. So one thing might be, when you're selecting your instrument, do you have the cross instrument trading turned on? You might want to come into your connection manager, go to download instruments, do a symbol download on CME, and do reload. That might fix your, because you might just have the instrument settings are wrong of some sort, you know? So now another thing could be, though, some settings that are also related to this. Come on. Actually, it's here in appearance in the trade column. Show P&L in what? Dollars, ticks, and then include closed P&L. So do you have include closed P&L? And then you'd come back to this position window. There's like an open profit and loss and a closed profit and loss. So maybe it's saying, oh, you're up $50, but you lost $30 from an earlier part of the trade or something like that. Although I don't know why it would come out to $30 because it's $5 a tick. Or no, not $5 a tick. It's like $15 a tick. No. It's 50 divided by 4. 12 and a half. It's 12 and a half. So how would you get 30? That would make sense. Like, try those things, and then if none of those things work, it sounds like a good candidate to go and talk to Jigsaw support. Another question I would ask is, are you using the beta? Because it could be a beta thing. Could be a beta problem. I want to just keep going, guys, but I probably need to prepare myself. We're going to be on the Ninja Trader stream, so... I'm thinking, should I switch to a different thread now? Let's try it. Let's go to the politics subreddit. The fact that Trump got almost 45% of New York is, oh wow, I did not know. Okay, interesting. He will have 4 years to do his bidding. I don't know about 4 years. Let's see what happens the next. I don't know what the next midterm is set up like. Are Republicans likely to hold the Senate on the next midterm? I'm not so sure about that, but... I am not very enthused. I am not at all enthused about the very real prospect of Elon Musk walking into the White House with a kitchen sink and gutting the Department of Education because he thinks it's funny. Meanwhile, Adrian Dittman is appointed director of the NSF, and any research that seems even the slightest bit woke is going to get defunded. The revenge tour is going to effing suck. The revenge, there's going to be a revenge tour for sure, my friends. And don't ignore the promise of RFK Jr. being in charge of our healthcare, right? You know what, though? I really think that you Democrats are going to be pleasantly surprised by what RFK, like if we end up doing, okay, let's get rid of Obamacare and replace it with something else, and RFK ends up being a significant portion of like crafting that bill, I think Democrats might be surprised at how much they might like some of his proposals, because he is a Democrat. Like, seriously. Wow, Trump improved his vote tally by 1 million from 2020. Harris will have underperformed by 8 million from 2020. Trying to sort out what the economic impact of a Trump presidency will actually be is going to be a wild thing. A wild thing. Oh, come on. Where's the unhinged comments? Let's before we got to go here, we got 15 minutes left. Let's see if we can get some more crazy stuff from Marshall Politics. Or maybe we can go to the Donald and they've already compiled the best stuff for us. Or, we could go to subreddit drama. Yeah. Do you think Trump will use Biden's diaper changing table, or will he replace it with a golden one? That's actually a funny joke, my friend. I'm going to give you a vote for that one. I thought that was funny. I'll do my best to tune out global political news for the next 4 years. Good. Maybe you're not I'm telling you what, man. If you want to be involved in politics and economics, you kind of have to be able to be selective. A human mind is not equipped to deal with every problem happening in the world at the same time. It's just not, right? You have this empathy for if something's going on in your community. That's how you help your community. If it's not something that's going on in your community, you've kind of got to like be able to selectively turn that off. Like you have to be like a selective psychopath sometimes and say like, here are the things that like I really can't worry about. There's nothing I can do about them. I just need to ignore those particular things, or you know, in some situations I can't let my empathy get the best of me, because then I might make poor choices. Because we're just not built to deal with that. And you know, most people don't follow the news to the extent that I do. And as growing up, I always kind of thought, well, yeah, everybody should know what's going on. Like the world would be so much better if everybody knew what was going on. And I believed that. And then 2012 came along, and Facebook came along, and everybody started following all of those things on Facebook and talking about it all of the time, and it's been a complete dumpster fire. And I kind of realized that no, actually, most people shouldn't follow the news carefully. Like my wife, she doesn't really follow that. Kids, they don't really follow that. They don't need to. They have me. That's not their role. That's not the role that they want to take on. And it's, you know, and if that's not the role that they want to take on, then it's probably not a good thing for them to be spending a whole lot of energy on it. I didn't want this to happen, but everyone in this thread so far are trying to cast blame on anyone else but the DNC and Harris's campaign messaging. Maybe touting our lethal army while an active genocide is going on and moving further to the right doesn't necessarily inspire folks to get out and vote. We need a proper two-party... Yeah, okay, they weren't left enough. Okay. As much as I hate Trump, Kamala really shot herself in the foot every step of the way. Seriously. Guys, like, in the future, when we're talking about how to run political campaigns, Kamala Harris will be like the epitome of like what not to do. I've never seen a worse run political campaign. Really, every step of the way, she screwed up. From Gaza to outing Dick Cheney to courting Dick Cheney, Democrats need to understand that moving to the right of their opponents won't work. She tied herself to a losing Biden campaign, taking his entire re-election staffers. She had every opportunity to break away from a losing election strategy and go the hope route with progressive policies. But no, she decided to try and meet her opponent where they were, from immigration to even housing reform. Deregulation, really? Her acceptance speech really was... Man, the far left is like... so totally doesn't get it, man. But yes, Kamala Harris was not a strong candidate. And I'm sure that to some degree, the extremeness of the result is because of how poor of a candidate she was. Okay, we're running out of time. I want to go and see Patriots.win. They have a salt collection. Farewell, Reddit. From r/suicide watch, they posted, farewell Reddit and farewell to my wife and her boyfriend. That one's a little bit too spicy for the sort of content I want on my stream, but that was funny. A picture of Rush Limbaugh. I can only imagine what Rush Limbaugh would be thinking about this right now. We were... Oh my gosh. Wait. We gotta watch this one. Wait, where is it? I'm just... I've watched a couple of videos like this. I'm like, I don't know, but like just hearing the first bit of this girl, like this is worth listening to.
We were wrong.
Man.
It's an utter betrayal for anybody that is not a cisgendered white Christian male.
Oh man.
They voted against women for hatred.
They voted against women for hatred, dude. This
Life, and I know it's not 100% done, but he's 4 away, and if he wins one more state, then that's it.
man.
We tried.
Okay, listen, I feel bad. I am an empathetic person, believe it or not. And I feel bad for this person. Like, I feel bad that you posted that on social media and make yourself look so dumb. And I kind of feel bad laughing at you. This girl needs to get off the internet, man. I doubt that she would ever be coming on my stream or anything, but lady, if you're listening, the internet is not good for you. You need to disconnect yourself because you have been you have been fed a steaming pile of dung view of the world that is just completely inaccurate, and it's leading to emotional harm to yourself. You're just not really well equipped to deal with this, and you don't necessarily should be. Go and enjoy your life, and don't engage with the internet so much because it's not helping you. It's so weird to me. The thing that I don't think you guys understand when I'm saying these sorts of things, nobody is more chronically online than myself. Okay? You're talking to a person that spends the majority of their life browsing the internet since I was like 14. Since I was like 12, actually. Okay? It you know, nobody's been more chronically online than me, and few people enjoy and spend as much time on social media as myself, and was more excited about what's going to happen when other people find forums and social media and Facebook becomes a big thing. So for me to be coming back and saying, you know what, actually I think the internet's not so good for you, and maybe I can deal with it, but not everybody can and should, is like a huge shift from where I was as a kid. Okay, so, but it really is. I'm watching some of these people, like, they've really brainwashed you and done a number on you, and you really should just disconnect. Man, that's crazy. I feel bad for this particular girl. Maybe it's because she kind of has red hair. Sucker for red hair. All right, some salt for your kafefe. Personally, I want to throw up. Me too. I can't handle it. Me too. I'm so damn nervous. I can't either. Out of the corner of my eye, I can see my husband periodically checking his phone. I've asked him not to tell me, but I hate not knowing I'm going to be sick. Oh. I just realized we voted harder. Voting harder worked. We need to vote harder all the time. We will have the best, harder voters, don't we, folks? You know, this just kind of makes me think about the whole, like, you know, 2020 election. Was it stolen and not, and that sort of a thing. And I still come down on the side that there was some suspicious things that I wished were looked into more, but I don't see enough evidence to suggest that it would change the results. And one of the big things that I see is that, you know, a lot of rules were changed. Mail-in ballot access was changed, and the way that you change the rules can change elections. And so in that respect, you know, I think that there was a lot
North
of
Korean
that.
troops were engaged,
and that's why Republicans
in Russia's
are,
Kursk
you
in
know,
recent days for the first time.
had a lot of
US
ammunition to
officials.
get upset about. But that if those things hadn't have happened, I still kind of think Donald Trump would have lost. And watching how things went this time really kind of like reinforces that for me, because I still see some of these suspicious things happen. Like I hope that they investigate them this time around. I think that maybe we'll have an election integrity bill and like solve this problem. But it kind of shows that really the problem in 2020 was the candidate and the message wasn't appropriate. Didn't actually give the American people what they want, and not that it was stolen. By the way, I was hearing maybe now Kamala Harris's speech will actually be at 4 o'clock Eastern time instead of 6 o'clock. Sky News, Kamala Harris's lack of a speech after election loss shows her true personality. Has Donald Trump done an election victory speech last night? I didn't see that. Gold is rising. Well, that's just a canned advertisement or inserted in there because gold took a real hammering last night. Cardi B reacts to the election. This is why some of you states getting hurricanes. Oh man.
Be getting hurricanes. This is why some of y'all states be getting hurricanes. That's all I'm gonna say.
My goodness.
This is why some of
My goodness. I get it. I'm the same way. Sometimes it's just like you have the thought you want to say, you just can't help yourself. Probably said some of those things today. I don't know. We'll see. It doesn't sound like anybody took offense, but like sometimes it's just better to be like when you lost, usually better to just be quiet about it for a little bit. Kind of let it pass. Absorb what's really going on and let the more logical parts of your brain come back first before you start yapping about it, you know? Ugh. That's going to be at the top of the unhinged reactions. Save that. Why does she think she's important enough to record and share this pathetic video to the world? No one cares. Wow, they have so much stuff pinned on the Donald thing. Okay, here's some new ones.
I hate you, you fucking orange pumpkin. You just costed me one of the most important people in my life. My dad. Donald Trump, I hate you. You will never be president again. You bastard, you costed me my dad. My dad was the most important person in the world to me, but now his colors are finally out.
This person might be autistic. D asks, did you ever find a fix for NinjaTrader 8 tick charts when refresh order flow diff? Oh, no, I don't think you can fix that bit. So, like, actually, I do think that I should make a fix, though. Maybe next version. So, basically, time is a critical factor in how we have to do the caching. The caching has to go based on time. So you're not going to be able to do the caching with a non-tick based chart. Now, the whole point of having the caching is so that you can do backtesting, and backtesting doesn't work very well on exotic bar types anyways, so. But I do think that I should add something on there like to be able to just turn the caching off altogether, and or to be able to, on some of these indicators, handle like the cache portion and tick replay different, so that you can like consolidate them or something like that. You know, like, okay, I would like to save everything, but in the cases where I don't have the data yet and I have tick replay turned on, do the tick replay calculation and then save it, or something like that, you know? Yeah, this channel never has any trades, just political BS. Are you a real trader or a fraud? Well, we are a real trader. I honestly have not been taking very many trades lately
2025
because my ability to take on risk right now is not very high. So I am even though I think I could maybe have had some good trades, I would trade sin. In this market, I haven't really seen opportunities. Maybe tomorrow we might see some more, you know, now people we get this in the Federal Reserve meeting round, and then people will really be able to digest everything, and then we might actually get a more active market again, right? But listen, it's not just political BS. If you think that what we've been talking about here today, all of the politics and analyzing the election and everything, is just BS, then do yourself a favor and don't go into trading. What we do here in the markets and trading is inherently political. The government has a stronger impact on the markets than ever before, and so you have to understand these things. And you have to be able to listen to other people share a political opinion that you don't necessarily approve of, to be able to understand at the very least what they're thinking and are likely to do in order to stand a chance trading. So yeah, I'm a conservative person, and maybe you're not a conservative person, and so you don't like listening to my political banter because you're a liberal. If you dislike it that much, trading probably isn't for you. Trading is going to be more for the kind of person that really enjoys listening to the other side and or enjoys the game of it all, because that's how you learn what other people are going to do. And that's how you predict orders. If you don't like that thing, then day trading is probably the wrong thing for you. I mean, day trading is probably the wrong thing for everybody. And that's the other thing, is I don't make any claims about profitability, nor about what your own results will be. The reality is that almost all day traders lose everything that they put into it. And all of the information that I provide on this channel is based on empirical evidence and studies about things that we can prove, and not some promise that I've made so much money, and if you do what I tell you to, you'll make money too. All right. But yeah, we do trade. We do trade, but I'm more of the sniper, okay? I'm not the guy that has to be in a trade all the time. I think that's kind of like one of those warning signs that they're really more about streaming and or gambling and don't really have an edge. You know? Okay, I'm a matter conservative. I just want the levels. I want to know about the Magnificent Seven. Yes, I don't need to hear about the left or blowing the right. Or no, you see, you have an idea about how the market works that is flawed. Levels don't matter. So go watch my video here on this channel about the inelastic markets hypothesis. It has a thumbnail with like poop emojis about it, saying that price doesn't matter. Okay. People believe in price levels and all of this stuff because we have this idea that the market is efficient. But the reality is that it's just people buying and selling. If you can predict whether people are going to buy or sell, then you can predict where things are going to go and you can make money. But trying to say like this idea that like they will start buying or selling once price crosses a certain line or something like that, it typically does not happen. There's only very narrow situations where that matters. Like when you're passing multi-day levels, you know, like you're hitting a new high for the year, for instance, or the situations where like there's a change in options gamma. That would be another one. But I don't trade ES, so I'm not watching those things. we did push new lows in ZN, and so, you know, it was kind of what happened overnight, so not necessarily the best, necessarily day trading here, but I did make a trade today. I bought TLT. I bought $1,000 in TLT about 5 minutes after the open, so we'll see how that one turns out, right? But if you're looking for levels, that's not going to work. What you want to do, my friend, this is what I suggest. This is what I teach, and this is what we found to be the most effective. And you're probably still going to lose because day trading is just hard. But this is what I think gives you the best chance of surviving. Is you want to know things that will predict orders, and you want to take every little thing that you can think of that might tell you whether people are going to buy or sell today, and then combine them all together. And then, you know, you want to like try and estimate a quantity for them in some way. You can do it by parts. You can say, I think that this thing is like 2 parts positive buying, and this thing is like 1 part negative, it's selling, and that leaves me with 2 parts overall buying still. So I want to buy. And that's the approach that I would take. Let the liberals brew today. Don't read or listen to the comments. Mega again and 10x. 0 day to expiration options were way too expensive today to trade just watching it. Oh yeah, I bet. I'm not hating, I'm just looking for, yeah, well, yeah, go and watch, man. Go and watch my main videos, because you know, I can just tell from the way that you're talking. Because here's the thing, like everything that I teach is based on like empirical studies and like peer-reviewed studies and stuff like that, right? And there kind of comes out with different terminology, so I can kind of tell pretty quickly based on how somebody talks, how they're trying to trade and where the potential flaws are in their view of the market. And so I'm just telling you, based on the terminology that you're using, you watch my videos, you might come out with a very different view of markets. You just binge on all of my videos for a day, especially those order flow videos, and you're gonna approach the market completely differently. Yeah, if only it was as easy as finding levels. Well, I mean, this is why I've spent so much work on these indicators and being able to backtest these indicators, because this is something complicated. These are things that like nobody else has, that nobody else is able, you know, other retail traders are not able to do the kind of analysis on. So you're much more likely to be able to find an edge in this kind of data, you know, simply because there's less competition. By the way, we're going to talk about that in the Ninja Trader live stream. I've gone like way over, because I was like, oh, I'm going to watch this last one and then I'm going to quit. And then we got into that little, you know, it's been 10 minutes, so I spent way too much time on it. But I am going to be on the Ninja Trader live stream. And we are going to talk about the results that we got from these backtests. I've already shown you guys a couple of days ago. But, you know, if you missed it, over to the Ninja Trader live stream, we actually are seeing some really interesting things in the data. And I'm just really, really excited about these indicators and where it's going. So I'll see you guys there in about 20 minutes. In the meantime, stay excellent.